Hello again, paisanos. Just when I thought I was out, they keep pulling me back in to talk about 2020's Mafia Definitive Edition. In our last video about Mafia, we discussed the graphical achievements of the game, from its use of lighting and shadows to how the light falls on a character's ears in a way that makes them so realistic. This time, we're going to get a little more personal and talk about its core characters, how they develop and lend themselves to the updated version of its 2002 story, as well as how they reflect different aspects of our leading mafioso-turned-fugitive, Tommy Angelo. Since we'll be covering elements of Mafia's story, a spoiler alert is in effect.
Saludo! Saludo!
We'll start with the big badman himself, Don Ennio Salieri, Tommy's former boss. In the beginning of the game, the Don is portrayed as an honorable and intelligent man who places doing what is best for his family above all.
I'm a businessman. I do everything with this. Every decision I make, it's what's good for the business and my boys.
Only asking in return for the loyalty of his subordinates. He emphasizes cool-headed thinking and a businessman's attitude for his criminal interests, and he has only two rules.
First, no cursing on the premises. There's a million words out there. And the man who needs to resort to fuck this and fuck that is just ignorant or lazy. Second, we don't deal in the hard stuff. I don't want any dope fiends in this neighborhood.
Soon after meeting our future boss, we are introduced to his Dark Mirror character and rival Mafia family head, Don Marco Morello. Compared to Salieri's quiet, conservative, business-suited demeanor, Morello is introduced into the game via his flashy white suit, and by beating a man to death in broad daylight with a tire iron. Their characters are simply, yet expertly, set up as the good and honorable Robin Hood-style criminal versus the bad and murderous crime lord, and the contrast further enhances Salieri's likability in both Tommy's and the player's eyes. Salieri even mocks Morello for his tendency to let anger blind him, making him predictable in his criminal plays, as opposed to Salieri's belief in level-headedness.
When he gets mad, he gets stupid.
The first hint that Don Salieri's image isn't quite all there is to him, though, is delivered by his own second-in-command, Frank Coletti. The older man recounts a childhood story to Tommy.
When I was 8 or 9, before I came over from Sicily, I had this beautiful skinny Cerneco dell'Etna, like a little greyhound. Fastest dog you've ever seen. That's how I met the Don. We started setting up races together. She never lost. Until the day she did. We were only out a pocket knife, but I never saw the Don so angry.
What happened to the dog?
The Don tried to drown her. I broke his nose.
In a scene later on, the Don reveals to Tommy that Frank has turned state, or is bargaining with the police for asylum.
Maybe he's still smarting over the dog.
The one you tried to drown?
Yeah. Same one I shot after he wouldn't let me sink her. When you catch up to Frank, you get those books. After that, you do what we gotta do.
However, when Tommy sees that Frank's family is there to witness the hit, Tommy decides against it.
I'm tired, Tommy. Tired of lying to my wife. Tired of checking under my car every time I take a Sunday drive. And tired of waiting for the Don to put 2 in my temple.
Frank's story and his reasons for turning will later echo in the reason Tommy meets with Detective John Norman several years later.
I just told myself that I was smarter than Morello. That I wouldn't turn around one day and find Paulie or Sam pointing a gun at my head. The thing is, you don't see it. And the guy next to you isn't just your partner. He's your brother. But at night, you lie awake, wondering if your best friend is hungry enough to betray you.
The next big insight into the Don's hidden side is in the chapter titled Bon Appetit, in which Tommy fills in for Carlo, the driver Salieri had for many years when Salieri's on his way to his favorite restaurant.
Get down!
What the hell?
Morello! Well, let me get you back to the bar.
No, not the bar. We're going to see Carlo. That son of a bitch knew where I was going today, and he calls in sick?
He set you up.
You take a guy in, you give him a place in your family, you give him respect, and this is how he repays you?
Instead of showing mercy to Carlo, a man he claims to have loved like a son, Salieri spends an uncomfortably long amount of time stomping his beloved family member's face into the ground and leaving him in the street. The Don then marches off, vowing revenge, leaving Tommy sickened at the events he's just witnessed. This whole mission throws a wrench into the doctrine the Don sets down at the beginning of the game. His proclamation of belief in sound reasoning and cool heads means nothing when one attempt is made on his life.
Boss, why don't you let me go first, huh? Carlo might be waiting for us.
No, Tom, my face is going to be the first and last thing this bastard sees.
Even Salieri's mockery of Morello seems hypocritical now, especially after he lets his anger get the best of him with Carlo, which puts his whole family in danger by starting a gang war over Morello's attempted assassination of Salieri. After years of a seemingly never-ending war, Don Morello is finally killed. And in a quiet, solitary moment, Salieri is seen drinking a toast to his former enemy.
See you on the other side, Marco.
In present day, Detective Norman explains to Tommy,
Old man, that's Don Papone, two younger lads of Morello and Salieri. Morello's wedding, Salieri was the best man.
Jesus, they're just kids.
Now already soldiers in Papone's mob. So what happened? In 22, Papone drowns up at the lake. Right? In order to keep things running smoothly, Salieri and Morello agreed to divvy up the city.
Yeah, I heard the story, so what?
Well, their friendship should have made the deal work, but didn't make a lick of difference.
once again, the holes in Salieri's emphasis on loyalty and family get larger. We can see how much of a hypocrite he actually is, because he and Morello clearly feel that gaining power is more important than their friendship. The final nail in the coffin of Salieri's integrity appears in the chapter Just for Relaxation, in which our triad of mafioso are sent to the docks by the Dawn to collect a crate of impounded diamonds, smuggled into the country in cigars. After recovering the marked crates, they take some stray bullets on the way to the drop-off point, and the trio finds out that the diamonds Salieri sent them to risk their lives for were actually...
Christ. It's dope. You sure? Where are the diamonds?
There ain't any. This is the real score.
We put our fucking necks out on the line for this shit.
As the Don pulls up with some unfamiliar tough guys, he answers our intrepid trio's pointed questions awkwardly, giving the impression he knew about the drugs, but intentionally neglected to tell the crew what they were actually risking their lives for.
You want us to unload the crates into the warehouse?
No, you can take a powder. These morons are gonna take it from here.
You sure?
What'd I say?
We now know by this point in the game, as do Tommy and friends, the true depths of Salieri's character. He's a classic hypocrite and is shown to break every rule he sets in the beginning of the game when establishing himself as a positive force for the world.
You can't trust a hypocrite, Tom.
Salieri has stopped caring about his family and friends, if he ever did, treating them like tools, discarding them freely when they are no longer useful to him, and replacing them with bigger, cheaper, less moral muscle. By the end, the Don has twisted the word family to mean slaves, and rules out of fear and deception in his insatiable hunger for more power and wealth. I'm starting to feel like I've worked for this guy. Next up, I'd like to talk about Tommy's Mafia pal, Paulie Lombardo. At first glance, he appears to be just the dumb muscle of the crew, and supports fellow crooks Tommy and Sam Trapani in their operations.
I go north, you go south. What? I go up, you go through there. Okay, sure.
However, there's a lot more to him than meets the eye.
Just got a lot on my mind is all.
That's so. I'd have figured there wasn't enough room up there.
Go ahead and laugh, assholes. You guys are done. I don't even think I got plans. But you're wrong.
Paulie is the earliest foreshadowing we get that family life isn't all it's cracked up to be, and the toll it can take on those involved.
Even Paulie had a few rackets of his own. Wasn't exactly happy, but what do you call it then?
Content.
Yeah.
During Tommy's first collection run with Paulie, he insists on doing one of the collections alone.
He's doing the store on his own?
Yeah, when Paulie's built up a little steam, he needs to let it out on his own. Just gotta let him get on with it. Yeah, Eugene's nephew ain't having much fun right now.
Later, after Tommy wins a car race for the Don, he is tasked with driving a drunken Paulie home to avoid him embarrassing the family during the post-race festivities.
Cow says moo and the chicken says quack. What does the bird say?
I don't know, but the security guy back there says you gotta go home.
On the way, Paulie laments the horrible things he's done for his criminal career.
You know you got it easy, right? Me and Sam, we keep the real stuff from you. You don't know what it's like. You get the call to see the Don and your mind's racing. Done some bad shit, Tom.
These two early game incidents show Paulie's hidden frustration with his role, as well as the toll it's taking on him mentally.
Let's go, Jim.
On top of the repeated bullet wounds.
Tom, I took one.
Jesus Christ, Paulie!
This is also some clever foreshadowing of Tommy's own future disillusionment with criminal life and his desperation to leave it. As the years wear on, Paulie becomes openly more and more tired of the life.
Christ, I'm gonna kill the poor bastard driver.
No, we'll just scare him a bit. All we need is his paperwork.
Right. We don't need the hassle of dumping a body.
Earning the reputation among his fellow crooks as a bit of a dreamer.
You got your head together.
Yeah, sober as a priest.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Hey, quit busting my balls. I'm good.
As he constantly tries to put together schemes to get himself enough capital to start over.
I can't afford this life no more.
Also, after years of bootlegging, murder, and general dissatisfaction, he has become very reliant on alcohol and prostitutes to cope. Aside from the prostitutes, we see that Tommy has developed similar habits and a similar mentality about family life throughout the game, although he hides it a little better. After finding out about the Don's new drug policy at the docks, Tommy and Paulie have a heart-to-heart talk on the train home.
I just about had it, Tommy. We got busted with all that smack, we would have died in prison.
And Paulie opens up about his own feelings of depression and hopelessness.
You're not built for the domestic life, Paulie. 6 months in, you'll put a bullet in your brain out of boredom.
Christ. I'm ready to punch my ticket right now. One day I'm fighting to stay awake while the Don's telling us a story about the old days. One I've already heard 100 times, and the next day I'm getting shot at, trying to keep from shitting my pants. It's fucking wearing me out, Tommy.
As well as about a scheme to rob a bank without the Don's permission so he can obtain enough funds to disappear. On top of his other problems, Paulie feels depressed that he's
Nearly 40 years old and nothing to show for it but my rap sheet. But we do this, I get enough scratch to finally get out? Who knows?
Tommy agrees to help with the bank job so he can escape his criminal career, thereby keeping his real family safe. Paulie proclaims that
You hear gunshots down at the vault. Don't come up. It's the money or nothing at all.
once again emphasizing Paulie's poor mental state in that he would prefer death rather than continuing to live a life he feels trapped in. The plan goes off without a hitch, and Tommy gets ready to leave town with his family. When he stops by Paulie's apartment to grab his cut, however, he finds Paulie dead, with the signature of a mob execution of 2 bullet holes to the head.
2 in the head, Paulie. If you're gonna do a job, do it right.
A clear message to Tommy. The dawn and a life of crime will not be escaped so easily. Now we come to Tommy's other pal, Sam Trapani. He's a foil to co-criminal Paulie, more practical, more eloquent, has a larger role in planning their crimes, and where Paulie laments his abilities with the fairer sex, Sam is known to be something of a lady killer. As a captain in Salieri's organization, his demeanor is also more emotionless when it comes to his work, professing that,
Just don't think about it. Best lesson I could ever teach you.
However, throughout the game, Sam does show loyalty and concern for those he becomes close to, often stating how much he owes his pals Tommy and Paulie for the times they've saved his life, regardless of how often he saves theirs in return.
That make us even.
This is demonstrated when Sam asks Tommy to spare the life of a sex worker by the name of Michelle, whom Sam has grown fond of. Tommy is sent to bomb the brothel she works at, because the brothel has become a hotspot for extracting information for the Morellos. Sam fully admits that he is one of the reasons that the hotel Michelle works at is being bombed.
She doesn't deserve to get plugged just because she likes listening to me talk. Here's 100. Give it to her. And make sure she gets far away.
And Tommy decides to honor the request, both as a favor to a friend and to avoid killing a defenseless woman.
Thank you.
Just don't come back and we're square.
He also pointedly does not mention Sam's guilt or his own good deed to the Dawn. Sam and Tommy have each other's backs constantly throughout the game, which makes Sam's eventual betrayal of Tommy more meaningful in his role as the game's final boss.
Hey, Tom.
Sam. What the hell's going on?
Sam, to fully cement his loyalty in the eyes of Tommy's former, not-at-all-fooled boss, murders Paulie and plans to also kill Tommy after their unsanctioned bank heist.
You killed Paulie.
No. Paulie got himself killed.
Sam mocks Tommy's morals in sparing both consigliere Frank and Sam's former paramour Michelle, despite the fact that Sam asked Tommy to do the latter. In Sam's warped logic, or perhaps in a desperate attempt to convince his Dawn of his lack of guilt in the matter, he doesn't see himself as responsible for Tommy's saving of Michelle, since he wasn't the one who actually spared her.
You're the one that let her live.
Sam's practical mentality, when compared with his friend's decisions and Salieri's true colors, is to keep himself alive no matter what, even if that means killing the woman he once loved and the friends he took to hell and back.
Don't let him suffer, boys. He's my buddy.
It's easier than standing up to a man he once respected and now fears.
Salieri? When he finds out you're going behind his back, you'll be planted right next to Morello. You ask me, there ain't no hall worth that.
After a long fight through several proverbial walls of thugs, Tommy eventually catches up to an injured Sam, but finds himself once again unable to pull the trigger on a defenseless person, one he once considered his brother, unlike a certain curb-stomping Don. Sam, in response, mocks Tommy for still retaining his morals.
You can't do it, can you? There's always that little voice in the back of your head. Maybe sounds like your baby girl. Or Sarah. Always telling you not to pull that trigger.
He attempts to bargain for his life, but makes a critical mistake.
Remember that time? Me, you, and Paulie.
As Sam's blood drips onto the money scattered below him, the meaning is painfully clear. What is the value of wealth versus human life? Sam is, in the end, the ultimate example of what Tommy could have been if he had followed the path expected of him by Don Salieri, an amoral assassin whose only priority is his own survival, who's more than content to throw bodies at a problem if that makes it go away. Literally.
Lucky shot, Tom! But the thing about drug money is it pays for a lot of muscle. Put him down, boys!
It's what Tommy may have been, without his actual family there to ground him. The overarching theme of Mafia's story is family and what it means to Tommy. Specifically, I'm talking about how its meaning shifts through his experience in the criminal underworld of Lost Heaven, how the word can be twisted by greed and lust for power, and how it can be used to strengthen or comfort. All of the characters contribute to Tommy's development and mirror aspects of him. Very few of the game's characters, even the ones I didn't talk about here, are in the game for no reason.
Oh, she's gonna sing!
The rags to rags story is nothing new in American crime dramas, but the way Mafia tells it, with its well-developed characters, stunning visuals, and a tightly focused and emotional storyline, brings a whole new depth and spin to a genre that we've obsessed over since the 1930s, and makes sure we don't forget about it.
Well, he's gonna need a guardian angel.
You don't need no fucking angel. He's got us looking out for him.